So, here we go. We've got, right in front of us,
We've
Gary.
got the 7th Annual Chicago International Movie and Music Festival coming up. And Gary, why don't you tell us about this? This is not the Chicago Film Festival.
This is not the Chicago Film Festival.
This is not the Chicago Indie Documentary Festival, and I got that name wrong.
This is not the Chicago Indie Documentary Festival.
This is a very exciting lineup you have here. Tell us about how this CIMMfest came together.
Chicago International Movies and Music Festival, CIMMfest for short, came together because Chicago is amazing. It celebrates music and film. And it's not, we don't exist simply because we're following a trend of, okay, well, South by Southwest or Sundance or any of these other fantastic festivals, actually, that help put out independent art, music, and film. But it's more about celebrating our history here in Chicago, right? In 1893, we had the first movie theater at the Columbian Exposition. We were Hollywood prior to Hollywood, when all of the artists left the East Coast because of Edison's fees. They came here, the original pirates, right? And they started the film industry. We had Maxwell Street, which just gave birth from the gutter to rock and roll, to funk, to hip hop, to everything, all along South Michigan Avenue. And so, when our warehouses closed, we gave the world house. Because of the empty warehouses. And so the city is the city indeed that works, right? At the very grassroots level, which is why, I think the previous conversation was quite interesting, because that's pretty much what we are. We're a 4-day festival of music and film and conferences, industry conferences. And it's about building that foundation so that our best and our brightest artists don't feel compelled to have to leave this city, but that they can stay and we can continue to build. And I think that's probably the biggest take home. But we've got.
Isn't that one of the head honchos of CIMMfest that just came in?
No,
it's a different guy who looks like him.
It is from behind. That's Dave. The head honcho is in a wedding in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
Yes.
Well, I was thinking about driving down there myself today to go to Bloomington.
Well, maybe you can stop by the wedding.
There's a festival that Twin Peaks is playing at.
Oh, right
so
on.
Before we get into some of the features, this is taking place next weekend, primarily at the Logan Theater.
It's taking place the 16th through the 19th, which is Thursday through Sunday. 200 programs thereabout. It's huge. Logan Theater is certainly one of our theaters. We're at Music Box. We're also at the Harper and Hyde Park. We're in venues throughout Pilsen. We're at the Mexican Museum of Fine Arts. We're at the Chicago Art Department. We're at the Cisco Film Center, Cultural Center. We're all throughout. Primarily, probably 80% of the festival takes place along Milwaukee Avenue, just in the venues and the theaters and double doors and subterraneans and such. But man, it's all over. It's huge. I can't.
Well, you got this fat magazine you put out.
It is a fat magazine.
And it just says Chicago International Movies and Music Festival, April 16th to 19th, and it says 99 plus films and 99 plus bands over 4 days. So that's a lot of stuff to pack into 4 days. Can you give us any little teasers about some of the films that are coming up, and then we'll do the same with the music?
Okay, well, a lot of things what we do is combine the music and film. So the film is just a touch point, right? And so then there's the larger conversation that starts from there, because we can make love or we can make war to music, so that's kind of what this is. And if there's an action point, we take it. And speaking of action points, we have a pretty hot flashpoint right now. We've got Spike Lee coming in for an evening of film, music, and wine over at the City Winery. And he just announced, or there are rumors of his announcements of his new Chirac film.
He's taking some criticism, but probably it's going to be a good thing.
Well, truth is always controversial. That's the way that works.
But pretty amazing pre-fest publicity for you folks.
Yeah, well...
How long did you have this planned?
You know what? It's been in the works for probably 4 weeks. A lot of stuff just kind of comes organically, which is the magic of this festival, So that's just one thing that we have.
Just for listeners who haven't heard, what's the controversy over Spike Lee?
Well, it is rumored now that he is looking, scouting locations or just trying to, I guess, get things established for a film called Chirac.
Yeah, he's been hanging around with Cusack, John Cusack.
And he's been hanging out, which is trouble.
I remember when Cusack would hang around in the Heartland in a Buffalo bar.
Here they are now. So there's that. Every year we give out a Badass Award, which is in recognition of Melvin Van Peebles.
Oh.
Yes. 2 A's, 5 S's.
What was that? Sweetback's Badass song?
That's what it was. And so this year we are honoring Julian Temple, who's an amazing director, both in film and music video pioneer. So we're having a retrospective, a couple of Kinks films, Absolute Beginners in 35 millimeter on the big screen over at the Siskel. Obviously, Julian Temple is in town for that, so he'll be here for the Q&As following. Obviously, for the awards ceremony, we've got Sam Lay tonight, kicking off. It's a kickoff party for his induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And isn't there a movie that he's in?
And there's a movie next week, and the reason why he's not taking part next week is because he will be in Cleveland being inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
We actually had Corky Siegel on the show last week to talk about the film and the festival and Sam Lay. Those of you who are regular listeners to the show know that we had Sam a number of months ago. He was here, and it may be up on YouTube or not, I'm not sure, but he's a hell of a guy. He's a special, and Corky really laid out what a special drummer this guy is, you know. It was great.
He was on Tavis Smiley last night, actually. I was up way past my bedtime. Sam.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I was just flipping through the channels, eating what was left of my 5-pound burrito at 2 in the morning, and I was like, oh.
I'm glad you got up. You're here.
The Corky Siegel segment from last week is what will be up on Can TV next week.
Oh, good.
On a regular schedule.
So that's tonight at Rosa's, and then next week, the 18th, where it's the world premiere of the Sam Lay documentary by John Anderson, which is going to be awesome. So
maybe we'll get John on the show.
Yeah, you should. You should.
He was going to come last week, but he was out of town. So, hey, John Anderson, we're trying to invite you to be on the show, and we'll go through Lynn in case you didn't hear us.
And we'll come get you, John. So there's that. We've got an 808 documentary, which is awesome. I keep using the word awesome because...
What is 808?
808 is the 808 drum machine that was put out by Roland in the late 80s, which revolutionized music. That's what gave us hip-hop and really dance music or any modern music in general. So it's a terrific doc. Everybody who's anybody in any of those genres is in it. The directors are coming in from the UK to talk about it. We've got Hank Shockley, who's going to be doing the after party. Hank Shockley was of Public Enemy's Bomb Squad. And so Nation of Millions and Fear of a Black Planet, that whole sonic revolution that happened, that was in part Hank Shockley. So he's coming in to host an after party and play. And then we've got a great lineup around him. And then on the house side, because that's also on the house side, and we are Chicago.
House music.
House music all night long, all day long, all morning long right now at this point. Forever.
One of your offerings is the Poet of Havana. I don't know if you've had a chance to see that.
Yes, I have not, but I will.
Given the reopening of relations, even as we speak today, between Cuba and the U.S.,
Hallelujah.
That was one that actually caught my eye as an intriguing thing because Cuban music, except for
Mezcla, we brought him here a number of times.
We just have not heard that much of traditional Cuban jazz and other forms of music, and this is one of the more exciting cultural things that I'm looking forward to with those countries opening up relations again.
Well, and again, that's kind of what this festival is about. It's not about the shiny objects, and it's not about the Kim Kardashians walking down the red carpet, right? This is This is very much a Chicago thing. I liken the 4 stars of the flag to 4 knuckles to your forehead. We don't wait around. We just do it, and that's what you get when you come here, and that's what you're getting here. You're getting film that has so many actionable points, that has social value, that has political value. I mean, again, going back to that whole make love or make war, it's all represented here. It's not just about dancing mindlessly. It is, certainly. That's, ecstasy is a good, not ecstasy, the whirling dervish ecstasy style.
So tell us about another kind of favorite performer or film that you would like to be sure our listeners will try to check out.
You know what? We have so many. Jaco Pastorius. There we go. We've got the Jaco Pastorius. Yeah, Jaco. So we've got the Chicago premiere of the Jaco Pastorius film, which is part of Record Store Day. It's the official Record Store Day film. Support local, buy vinyl, right? That's what this is about. And Robert Trujillo of Metallica, bass player of Metallica, is the executive producer of this, and he's coming in to present the film as well. So, really excited about that. Glad to see something going on with Jaco, too.
Tell people who he is.
Jaco is one of the greatest bass players that ever existed, died tragically. Typical story of musicians, but when Bootsy Collins sings your praises, you are an amazing bass player. So all I can really say are 2 words: Jaco and Bootsy, and you have to see the film. Right?
I like that. Well, one of the things I like to do when we have guests on this show, particularly when we have you on for the first time, and we're here talking with Gary Kuzminski. Tell us a little about yourself. How did you get involved? What do you do? Where do you come from? Where'd you go to school? Whatever you want to share.
Well, it's interesting that I heard the St. Michael's on the southeast side mentioned, because I didn't know anybody knew of that parish.
Did you spend some time there growing up?
I spent some time there growing up.
Amazing community.
It's beautiful, and it's a beautiful church. The piano is amazing. The altar is incredible. I actually was just down there not too long ago because I was passing through, and I hadn't been there in decades, and I had my camera on me. I was like, I'd like to go in there and get some shots of this gold leaf, blah, blah, blah. Door was open. I walk in. The alarm goes off. Apparently the janitor didn't lock the door. So I'm sitting here, okay, what do I do right now? And so I'm like trying to knock on the rectory door to be like, Father, I didn't mean it. Sorry. Just here to take photos. Haven't seen you in 30 years, I know.
You want to get in the confessional booth.
It's been 47 years since my last confession. So I grew up on the southeast side.
The Bush.
Actually, I went to St. Mary's off 138th, which is the last street in Chicago, among all of the.
Oh, you're lucky you're not in Indiana.
Well, I don't know if there's any difference at that point. A lot of waste dumps and abandoned factories, kind of stuff. But I got involved with CIMMfest as an artist. That's primarily what makes this really special. It's 100% volunteer organization of filmmakers and musicians and artists and people that just want to propel independent culture forward. And so that's how I kind of stumbled upon it. I'm with a group called Jagoff. It's...
We say it like this, you Jagoff.
Well, I tried to say it nice because it is early. And we had shot this documentary talking about Actionable, about this promoters ordinance that was proposed here in Chicago. And so we helped to spearhead a movement to shut that down. And Jim DeRogatis was instrumental, and Greg Cott was instrumental, and worked with Chris Drew, as a matter of fact. So we've been at the myself as an artist has been at the grassroots level for a long while, and that's what CIMMfest afforded us, is that they offered us a platform when many others wouldn't touch us. And they were just like, no, this is important. Can you put together a panel about, arts and community engagement, or arts and activism? And I was just like, oh, wow, you guys are giving me a platform. You'll be sorry. And, 5 years later, just once that opportunity existed, I just saw, well, I didn't have to see. The importance was inevitable and inescapable. And so, yeah, so here I am today.
So how much does it cost to attend one of these events, and where can people get more information?
Well, it costs anywhere from nothing. We do have a number of free programming. To, I believe, the highest ticket that we have is, well, I'll tell you, I look in the back here. $175 for the $125 for the 4-day VIP pass. But there's so many passes. We have high school passes, 18 and under, and dropouts are welcome. College passes, so on and so forth. But $75 for the standard pass, which is an amazing deal. 200 events, 4 days for $75. That's like a cup of coffee. It's like a cup of coffee per event, or less than that. So yeah, so if you have nothing in your budget, download the program at CIMMfest.org. That's CIMMfest.org. We do have the program in PDF format as well as the schedule. So it's and if you're on the street, you'll probably see me. So ask me for a program, or if you see it in record stores. We're at the Chirp Record Fair today. We got a group out there. So come visit there, or just go to your neighborhood record store or what have you.
Thanks, Gary, for telling us all that. Tom, give me a